All right, here with George Kambosos. George, you must be excited to be fighting back here in Sydney, mate. Thoughts on this fight and sort of tell us how it all came about.
Yeah, look, I'm very excited to be fighting back in my hometown of Sydney after 8 years. The last time I fought here was at the beautiful Luna Park when I beat the very talented top 10 in the world, Brandon Ogilvie, in a shutout. So to come back after the road that I've taken, the championships that I've won, and obviously the wins and the losses, and going to all the other states and doing sellout fights, it's good to come home in front of my hometown, my people, and to the people that have supported me from day one. And I'm looking forward to this big card, this big show, Matchroom, Ferocious Promotions, The Bell Entertainment, putting on a big show. I feel like it's the Australian card of the year, and the way it's come about, it's been great. And obviously Yordan, a very dangerous guy. Yes, he may not be known as the Lomachenkos and the Hearns and the Lopezes, and I think people have started to fall into Kambosos only fights these legends, but there is other good, tough, solid competitors in the division as well, and Yordan is one. He's a respected senator from his own country with 290 million population supporting him and behind him. He's a former two-time IBO world champion. He's a WBA world title challenger, and he's thriving for this fight. This is his opportunity, as well as his mind, to make a statement at 140. So his style brings danger. He's a slugger, he's a fighter, and so am I. I love to fight, I love to tear up for the crowd, and I'm looking forward to it. Yes, he ain't a Lomachenko, he ain't a Hearn, he ain't a Lopez, but he brings his own good stuff in his fight game, his toughness, and you don't have 43 victories and 31 knockouts if you're a slouch, so it's going to be a hell of a fight.
The move to 140, can you sort of talk about, I guess, the evolution? Was it hard to make that weight at 135? What's the sort of thought process going to 140?
I think the older you get, the harder it becomes, and I realised that when I was making that third weight cut in the bath the day before the Lomachenko weigh-in. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, no matter what happens in this fight, I've got to move up. It gets harder, and you can see I'm a lot thicker, and this is the natural weight. When I come down to that 135, I lose muscle, I lose a bit of myself where I have in the past. So 140 was the natural progression. It's been my whole career, 135. I've done it all. I've got every single belt at 135, from the ring to the IBO, to every single belt in between. And I've done the big fights. So 140 is perfect for me. At 31 years of age, I feel very good. I feel strong, explosive, fast, and I can't wait.
Daud, he's got a lot to fight for, this guy. Talk to us about what you know about him and what challenge he poses in the ring.
Yordan is dangerous. Like I said, he may not be well known, but he's well known to me because we were scheduled to fight back in 2016 after I beat Ogilvie for the interim WBA world title, believe it or not. And there was a poster floating around that I saw pop up a few weeks ago when it actually came up, and we were supposed to fight. So he is no slouch. He's got a big following, a respected senator from Indonesia, like I said, with over 280, 290 million population. Of course they're going to tune in. And this will be the second politician I get to punch in the head. Obviously Manny Pacquiao was the first in our sparring wars that we had, and now Yordan the second. So I'm looking forward to it. He's dangerous. He can fight 31 knockouts. You've seen him in his highlights, in his fights that he's had. He knocks guys out clean. So I've got to be on my guard. But at 140, I feel very strong, very sharp, very focused, and I will make a statement in this fight.
A lot going on at 140 there. Richardson, Hitchins, seen you two going back and forth on Twitter a few times now. What do you make of the landscape at 140?
Yeah, it's a good landscape. Obviously, Lopez sitting at arguably number one there at 140, but it's a guy that I've already beat up. So I come into that division. Obviously, you've got Hearn there as well, champion in recess. You've got Sandor Martin fighting Puello for the WBC belt. Guys that I don't think they're the pinnacle of the guys that I have fought, the Hearns, the Lomachenkos, the Lopezes. And you got my good buddy Hitchins, who we go back and forth, and the verbal abuse back and forth is quite funny. So yeah, we'll see. My focus is March 20, making a good statement in front of my hometown, selling this thing out, and after that, there is a lot of talk with Hitchins. There's a lot of talk with any champion because Kambosos has such a big name in the world of boxing. So big fights are not hard to make.
What do you think it says about George Kambosos that these guys who are the champions are calling you out right now when you don't have a belt, but you must, you're still a big name in the sport?
Yeah, I feel like we're one of the biggest names in the world of boxing still. Regardless of our last few years' wins and losses, We know how to promote ourselves. We know how to show up on fight night and even in our losses, go to war and give everything that we have. Fans respect it. I think fans are starting to turn a little bit more and say, you know what? The zero doesn't really matter. The losses are going to happen when you fight the best, and that's what I've fought. The best of the best, back to back to back. I think this is my 8th or 9th world champion in a race since 2019. He is a former 2-time IBO world champion. So you give him that respect in Yordan. This is since 2019 fighting high caliber, top tier guys. So I'm looking forward to making a good statement. And then from there, yeah, the big names, they keep calling me out. They love having Kambosos living in their brains rent free amongst so many other fighters who couldn't tie my shoelaces. So, it's good. I kept doing what I do. I love what I do. I love training. I love being...
Picking it up with George Kambosos. George, I was just asking what you learnt from your big fights against Vasily and Devin Haney. What is the motivation for you at this point in your career? You've achieved so much. You've got all the belts at 135. What's sort of driving George Kambosos at this point?
Yeah, look, you learn from these guys. I'm not losing to... D-level guys. I'm losing to the best in history of all time. 11 rounds with Lomachenko. You think you don't take something out of that? The guy's a legend. The amount of respect I had for him before and after the fight is huge. Same with Devin Haney. Utmost respect for these guys. You keep getting better and better. You keep, putting in hard work, and moving up a division is better for me. Physically, mentally, my speed, my power. I feel great. So, yes, I've achieved everything in the sport. I've done the big fights. I've made a lot of coin. I've had the big events. I fought the best of the best back to back. But what else am I going to do? Sit and go fishing all day? Yeah, I can if I want to. But I love fighting. And I feel so good in training. I feel good in my sparring. I feel sharp, explosive. I love this sport. I live by this sport. And, there's more to do. And like we said, the champions are calling me out a day after they win the belt. So where am I going to go? I'm going to bounce back after, a good fight with Lomachenko, make a statement March 22 and keep moving forward. And people can say what they want. But if you don't respect the resume that I have gone and the risks that I've taken, the fights that I've had, then you don't know boxing. Roger Mayweather was right. You don't know shit about boxing.
There's two more for you, George. The business aspect of boxing, does that sort of, are you sort of interested in, where you can invest your money, what businesses you can start? Does that sort of drive you at all?
I already got some good businesses behind me, some really good investments behind me. But, of course, I got Ferocious Promotions. And Ferocious Promotions have been in conjunction, obviously, with the 2 Haney fights, the Lomachenko fight, and again, with this fight. So my mindset, of course, we're building a really good roster. Obviously, my father, JKSM Agents, he's got some unbelievable talent. Guys that are in the top 10, top 5 in the world. We've got Imam Khatiev, top 5 in the world. Mohamed Yakubov, number 3 in the world super featherweight. We've got some young prospects coming through. So, of course, the next step, obviously, we're building nicely. We're getting that exposure, doing it with the big companies like Matchroom and DeBella, and obviously Top Rank we've done. And that will be the next step in the next few years, taking Ferocious Promotions and bringing Australian boxing and bringing these fighters and building them up nicely and doing the big shows. There's not many in this country, and I think a guy that's been through it all, done it all, seen every bit of this sport, and you've got the contract specialist over there. You ask him one thing about a contract, he's going to tell you everything. So, that'll be the next step.
Last one, the landscape in Australia. We saw DAZN's purchase of Foxtel. We saw you sign with Eddie Hearn. You're obviously with DeBella as well. How do you sort of assess the landscape here in Australia this year?
The landscape is still good. There's still great fighters here. The landscape is still moving nicely. Obviously, DAZN coming in is a big plus. I feel like a lot more fighters are going to get a lot more noticed, a lot more exposure. And I feel like, yes, we've had that kind of like isolation. We're going to do with him, forget these guys. But I think this will open up more of the market. And why not work all together? Why not, give promotion to him and give promotion to that guy and give promotion to the local guy? Work together, the media work together, the social teams work together, the promoters work together. And let's keep building this sport. We've seen what we've done. Like, obviously, I've seen what I've been able to do in filling out 50,000 people in a stadium, bringing these megastars to Australia. So why can't the young kid who's fighting on the local route get that support and exposure behind him, and in 5 years or 10 years' time, they can go and do it as well. That's my mindset, and DAZN will be good for Australian boxing. And I'm looking forward to Ferocious Promotions, moving, well in the future and giving these kids these opportunities.
Nice one. Appreciate it, George.
My pleasure.